Hi, this is your host, Daniel Gutierrez. I'd like to welcome you to our call with today's guest, Morry Zelcovitch. Morry has been researching and studying the effects of sounds and tones on our mental states for well over 20 years. He's one of the few certified Brainwave entrainment engineers in the world. Morry helps clients across the world know how to easily master their power and completely transform their lives, simply, automatically, and more importantly, effortlessly. Today you will discover how to remove the root cause of your problems and frustrations, how your brain works, and the simple states you must achieve in order to maximize your life, how you can change your self-image from inadequate to fantastic, and finally, the hidden truth about self-improvement, which is that there is only one guru for you, and that guru is you. I love that. Morry, thank you for joining us today, and welcome to the call.
Thanks, Daniel. I appreciate you having me here.
I love it. So I'm really glad you're here. Before we get going, Morry, could you take just a few minutes and share what you believe have been the major turning points that have allowed you to manifest your current level of success?
Sure. Actually, I lived most of my life in a pit of extreme darkness, depression, wanting to be dead. I remember what I call my hallmark greeting card was "Life is a disease for which there is no cure but death." Funny thing is, though, my parents were very nice to me, still are, actually. Decent friends, great family. You know, we weren't rich by any stretch of the imagination, but certainly, you know, had a roof over my head, always had a full belly, no problem there. I was doing everything to myself. It's funny how we blame other people. We like to blame the economy. We like to blame politics. We like to blame parents, religious leaders, whatever. You know, we like to blame everybody but ourselves. When we do that, of course, we give up all of our power. What happened with me was I went through life in all this darkness, and I, you know, like my little greeting card said, I wanted to die.
Wow.
And I've injured myself thousands of times, literally hundreds of dislocated bones, ripped and shredded tendons, concussions, cracked and broken ribs, slipped discs, ripped, shredded tendons. I mean, pretty much anything and everything under the sun has been ripped, shredded, or bended, spindled, and mutilated. I'm like mail going through the U.S. Post Office, you know, just getting ripped and shredded apart. And the funny thing is that that's what my life was for at least 30, 35 years. Thousands of voices in my head all the time. Every waking moment, all I heard was like I was in the middle of a large crowd of people talking. Absolutely hell. Now, I don't even remember the last time I had a negative thought. And that came around quite simply because I realized one day that all these injuries weren't killing me. They were just hurting me. So I realized that if I can't find a way to kill myself, I have to find a way to live and to enjoy my life. So I started hunting and pecking, and I found hypnosis, and it kind of felt good when I was doing it, but it really didn't have any long-standing results. I found meditation had the same problem. Biggest problem with meditation for me was I was questioning myself. Am I supposed to feel like this? Is this working? Is this
the ego?
The constant, yeah, exactly. The constant questioning, is this doing anything? You know, paraliminal, subliminals. I even tried brainwave entrainment that's out there, which is my area of expertise. And nothing really seemed to work. A lot of these things, they helped me relax at the moment that I was using them, but they really didn't do anything. There was no long-lasting results. I'm a scientist, so when I try something, I don't just try it because you tell me it's good. I try it because it sounds good in your sales letter, and then I research the crap out of it, and if it resonates with me, then I try it. So, funny thing is, the brainwave entrainment, even though my research told me it should work, it didn't. And I realized that maybe it's because the people who are doing it aren't, you know, don't have the proper understanding. There's certain physiological, biological rules that need to be followed in order for anything to have an effect. You know, and what I did was I started investigating and analyzing these recordings that were out there and found them lacking in a few very important respects. I realized, though, that I still resonated with brainwave entrainment and that it could help me. So because of all these other people who create brainwave entrainment out there and don't do it correctly, I ended up creating what's now known as the Morry method and my own way of doing things, which actually does follow physiological, psychological, and, you know, every other way of doing
right.
it that legitimately works, because I follow the physiological rules, the neurological rules, the psychological rules, the neurochemical rules. And because I do that, the recordings that I created actually pulled me out of the depths. And I've become the guy now who, instead of being, you know, in debt up to my eyeballs, and that's assuming I'm 30 feet tall, I'm in debt up to my eyeballs. I was actually buried alive in debt. Instead of being in debt like that, and instead of being depressed all the time, I'm a happy guy. And last year, I got to tell you, Daniel, last year was a bad year, or actually it was a really good year. You know, it depends on how you look at things. There were 2 cancer scares with me, but they were scares. If it was something, it went away, and if it wasn't, it was just a scare. My wife has gone through a hellish adventure with a autoimmune issue. And even through all of that, we both have enjoyed our lives, are deeper in love, have a better relationship, and didn't have negative thoughts. You know,
that's awesome.
Yeah, well, that's not to say that we didn't get scared at times, right? And have a little bit of worry here and there. But even through all of that, there was still never any fear. There was never any, like, we still loved our lives and enjoyed ourselves and went out and did things, you know. And again, there was no dwelling. There were no real negative thoughts. There was a little bit of worry and a little bit of concern, a little bit of crying here and there. But it was never a depression. It was never anything that, you know, changed the quality of our lives. And this is in, you know, the entire responsibility of this is the brainwave entrainment that I use, because it has served to keep us calm and level-headed and to be able to deal with things. And that's basically what happened. So, you know, ultimately, I'm incredibly grateful to all of these people that do hypnosis on the internet and elsewhere, to all of the people who do, like, you know, the subliminal programming, and all of the people who do brainwave entrainment. And I'm grateful to every single one of these people, because if it wasn't for them and their inability for their products to help me, I never would have developed what I have. And my systems have now helped thousands of people in over 190 countries all over the world.
That is beautiful.
But isn't it nice that I can be grateful even for the
absolutely
competition? You know, because without them, I never would have come up with what I came up with. And it shows me that my suffering and my pain for all those years served a purpose, a positive purpose. And the beautiful thing is, and this is a lesson I'd like to share with you guys out there. Daniel probably already knows this, but, you know, who knows, maybe you've all heard this 1,000 times before. Just in case you haven't, I learned that life proves there's only now. There is no past and there is no future. When yesterday happened to you and influenced you, it was now. When tomorrow gets here and you experience it, it will be now. Right now, when you're listening to us speak, it's now. So now is all that exists. Past and future are really just terms to help us organize our time. They really don't exist. And because of that, my 35 years of hell on earth is in the past. It doesn't exist. It's something
I love
I'm
that.
grateful for.
I love that.
Instead of something that drags me down and makes me depressed. And that's what I want you guys to know. Living happy, which is a choice, and living in the present, which is another choice. When you take care of today, tomorrow will be a lot better, because tomorrow is really nothing more than the today that is to come.
I love it. Wow, that's great. You know, and I tell you what, already just talking with you, I shared with you that I'm going to go get a crown worked on, which is never my most favorite thing to do. And I realized, you know what? I can be grateful in going in and getting my teeth fixed when I realize as a traveler around the world, I've seen people with no teeth.
Yeah.
And You know, and so all of a sudden I'm just smiling again, so I appreciate that. Let's get right into our call today, because
Sure.
we have a lot of great things to share. And folks, I want you to be mindful that he's going to be sharing one of these meditations for you at the end of the call. So make sure you stick with us so that you can find out this incredible a piece of what he does and how it can help you today. So, Morry, we've all heard about the law of attraction. That's how we probably all got here.
Sure.
But what is the law of awareness?
Actually, funny thing is, the law of attraction is probably the law of awareness.
Right?
I think the law of attraction is really a misnomer. The law of attraction actually states that you get what you think.
Right.
But there's a little bit of danger incorporated in that way of thinking, because I can think positive thoughts or force myself to think positive thoughts or try to think positive thoughts every minute of the day that I'm conscious. But, you know, we're human beings. Something's going to happen. You may happen to see someone on the street begging for money, or you may stub your toe and have a negative thought, or someone might cut you off in the car. The problem with the law of attraction is it tells you that as soon as you have a negative thought, all the positive thinking in the world you just did has been flushed down the toilet. So I have a bit of a problem with the law of attraction, or at least calling it the law of attraction, because what that really does is it gives a lot of people who are selling law of attraction products the ability to say, well, it's not my product's fault because you had a negative thought.
Right.
What really is going on, and what people need to understand, that when you live in the now, there's good and bad all around all of us. Okay? When you choose to be happy, when you choose to look for good, you see good. When you choose to look for bad, you see bad. I use as an example a little bunny rabbit, a cute bunny rabbit running through the woods because he's being chased by a fox. Okay? When he's being chased by a fox, he doesn't see the beautiful flowers and rock structures and trees and the sun and the breeze and the gorgeous little butterflies flitting about. All he sees over his shoulder as he is running is this fox getting closer and closer, and the danger inherent in the fox catching him. Okay? That's because he is looking for something bad. Understandably, in this case, because he's being chased by a fox, and he knows if he gets caught, the fox is going to rip him apart. Now, the problem with that thinking, though, as a human being, is normally the fox is a manifestation of our imagination. It's a manifestation of watching the television news or listening to the radio or reading the newspaper or a magazine talking about all the evil and the horrible things in the world. So we are being trained to look for bad things. We're being trained, as they used to say in the old days, to look for the other shoe to drop. All right? When we are looking for what's wrong, when we are living our lives trying to avoid poverty and trying to avoid ill health, what we're actually doing is we're focusing our attention on ill health and on poverty. When we focus our attention on these things, that's what we see. So it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. What I do is I choose to be happy. I choose to look for good things, even in people, in places and things, in experiences. Even my wife's experience is a positive because she has been a bit of a guinea pig, and other people with similar autoimmune issues will have less pain and less suffering because of her experience. There's always a positive. You know, people can even look at someone who suffers, or even a small child who is born and lives a short life of pain and then is no longer with us. And people say, well, Morry, this kid certainly didn't look for bad things because it didn't have the awareness. So how do you explain that? Well, you know, in our limited experience, we don't really have a knowledge, or most of us don't have a memory, let's say, of what may have come before our current life or what even may happen after. What I'd like to think, and again, this is me choosing to be happy, is that our current existence in this body that we are in, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, is simply part of the whole. As a matter of fact, most of us have stubbed our toe. And the pain, when it's there, feels like it's forever, but it really is only just for a second or two, and then it's gone. it's entirely possible and even probable that the grand scheme of your existence, this particular life, really only measures a second or two in the grand scheme of your entire existence. Einstein, among others, proved many moons ago that you cannot destroy energy. You can only convert it. Now, what makes you different from a robot is only the parts that make you up. A robot that a man may build may have metal joints and wires, right? We have flesh and bones and veins. The energy that makes your joints move and makes you think and makes you Daniel and me Morry, okay, is a unique energy unto you. And that's what animates the body that looks like Daniel and the body that looks like Morry, or that we've made look like Morry in this existence and made look like Daniel. So it's simply energy that you really are. When you look in the mirror, you're not who you see. That is literally a place to live while you're here in this mode of existence. So we need to understand that we don't understand. And when we do that, we need to make the conscious decision to look for the good. And when you look for the good, you will see the good. And then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy for good instead of bad. Instead of being depressed all the time, instead of being angry all the time, instead of blaming other people all the time, we say to ourselves instead, you know what? There is good in everything. Think about it. Daniel, have you ever broken a bone?
No.
A leg, an arm, anything like that?
I busted my knee up in football, though.
Good. You busted your knee up in football.
Yep.
Let me ask you a question. What would have happened to your knee had you not felt pain?
I probably would have never even acknowledged it. Kept on going.
Exactly. And you would have gone on as if nothing was wrong.
Yep. Yep.
And it would have been getting more and more severely damaged. And maybe today you wouldn't be able to walk at all.
Probably.
So aren't you grateful for the pain?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because it made me stop and not keep playing.
That's right. And it made you go seek medical attention, which then helped you to repair.
Right.
And now you walk no problem. You say you're a world traveler. I'd like to see how easy that would be.
Yeah, it wouldn't.
Didn't have pain. Exactly. So it's all a matter of shifting your awareness and shifting it to an understanding that everything for a reason. And even if we don't understand what it is, there's lessons to be learned. Look, I lived in hell for over 30 years. And without that hell, I would not have created my product. If I didn't create my products, there are tons of people out there, actually more than tons, because thousands of people add up to a lot more than tons, who have had their lives change because they used my technology to help them help themselves. If it wasn't for my suffering, we would not be talking. I would probably be working in some office somewhere wearing a suit and a tie, which I think is disgusting for me. I have a major problem.
I do too.
Okay. But without my suffering, I'd be doing something that's unfulfilling. Instead, I'm living my dream. I'm with the woman of my dreams. Okay. We've been together over 4 years, and despite everything that's happened, you know, our lives get better and better and better. And I've never even had a fight with her in 4 years. Can you imagine that? People say, "Oh, well, you're." People say, "Oh, you're hiding it. You're lying. You're holding stuff in." No, I'm not. Look, happiness is not just a choice. It is a natural state where we're supposed to be 100% of the time. Sorry?
That's interesting because you said something a minute ago I want to go back to before we get too far ahead, and that's that you're living the life of your dreams. Why is it then so many people are so frustrated with their work and their inability to really do that, what you're doing?
Well, I think they don't listen to messages that they get. You know, I didn't. For the longest time, I went from one job to another being miserable and miserable and miserable, and finally I woke up one day and realized maybe this is the universe's way of saying I love you, and you're not listening to me, so I have to hit you a few times until you wake up. But literally, that's what happened. You know, we don't listen to the messages we're given. We assume pain is a bad thing. We assume discomfort is a bad thing. We assume impatience is a bad thing. Anger is a bad thing. These are all signs we're not happy. We need to keep changing things subtly until we get happy. When we are happy, that's when we're on the right track. That's the indicator. You know, it's the red light on the dashboard of your life. Okay? The oil light comes on in your car. If you ignore it, your engine seizes eventually, and it's thousands of dollars, or you junk your car.
So you're saying it's a choice.
Yeah, but if you pay attention to that red light when it comes up, if you pay attention to your stress, if you pay attention to your dissatisfaction, if you pay attention to all these things, you can actually save yourself a lot of anguish, a lot of money, a lot of everything. You know, the internet. We're all on the internet now. Like everyone listening to this has an internet connection. All you need is a computer and an internet connection, and you can start making a new career for yourself. Literally. My entire career is made from the internet. I do not sell my products in stores. I do not go and do talks. I don't do anything like that. Everything is done on the internet. There is more than enough wealth for everybody. Again, when you choose to be happy, you understand the real truth of life. There's more than enough love and relationships and health for everybody. It's simply a matter of opening yourself up and seeing it there. But that's what the people are doing. They're ignoring their misery. They're ignoring their, dissatisfaction, and they're misinterpreting their resistance and these other feelings as negatives, when in reality, they're signs that you need to push forward and move through them in order to change your circumstance. If you do everything the same today that you did yesterday, tomorrow when it gets here will be the same. But if you change things today, when tomorrow gets here, it will be different.
It really boils down to, I love what you have been sharing with us. Someone told me this once, says easy does hard only because we want to, right? Yeah. Only because we want to. We make the choice to make it hard because it's too simple to just say, hey, I'm happy. So, Morry, what exactly is the Morry method and brainwave entrainment as you see it? Because I've done a few interviews with people who do this. I'm very, very excited to hear your version because everybody had to do what they had to do to get where they got, but very few did the research to get there. And that's what I appreciate about what you've shared with us so far, and having read a little bit about you on the internet. You are a scientist who went out and sought out the answers to make it right for you first, and then now you can share. So what is this method?
Okay. Basically, people need to understand that there's a process. Everything is a process, even if it seems to happen immediately. If you have a pet mouse and you go away for the weekend and you come back and you see your mouse, on his back with his legs in the air, and he's no longer went there, okay? You to make a conscious decision if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Okay, let's say you loved your mouse, so it's a bad thing. Now you decide it's a bad thing. Now you interpret this bad thing as something to be sad about because you loved your little mouse. Now you've decided to be sad, okay? This decision to be sad releases different neurochemicals. These neurochemicals are what actually make you feel what you feel. They make you feel the sadness. They make you cry. They make you, all the other things. All this happens like that. It happens quick, but it does happen as a series, okay? Nothing makes you sad. You interpret it as sad, and then your body and your brain and your mind respond to that interpretation. And that's why we feel sad. That's why we feel happy. That's why we feel energetic. That's why we feel weak. All of these things happen based on our neurochemistry. So what I've figured out is that most of us, especially in ruts or depressions or things like that, what we've done is we're in a bad situation because we're in an endless loop where these neurochemicals have kind of made us addicted to them, and we constantly produce the brainwave patterns responsible for creating these poor combinations of neurochemicals which keep us in these states. They keep us weak. They keep us afraid to take action. They keep us depressed. They keep us angry. They keep us impatient, all these different things. So the key, instead of dealing with symptoms, is to drill down to the ultimate cause. And the ultimate cause is your neurochemistry. That's what makes you feel happy or sad or anything. So what I decided to do was to incorporate a better way of thinking based on what works. So I use techniques in my systems that basically mirror your life technique. In other words, what trained you to believe what you believe now, I've adapted these techniques into my system, and I changed the content from something negative to something positive. But first, we need to have the fertile ground in which to plant this now positive seed and allow it to grow. So that's where the brainwave entrainment only recordings come in. They literally put your brain back into a healthful state. I do not put you into altered states of consciousness. I allow you to be retrained back into natural states of consciousness. Our world today doesn't allow for stable brainwave patterns. To produce healthful amounts of neurotransmitters, endorphins, and hormones, we require to be in specific dominant states for periods of time every day. It's kind of like exercise or eating right. If you don't do either of them properly, then you suffer consequences. It's the same thing with your brain. So what my recordings do is they allow you to get back into these natural, healthful states for long enough periods of time that you start to produce these beneficial neurochemicals again. And when I say again, it may be for the first time for many of you, but again, from the standpoint of civilization. 5,000, 6,000 years ago, we may think of ourselves as being pretty primitive and living in stress, but you know what? Our lives were pretty simple. We hunted, we gathered, we ate. Mm-hmm. That's what we did. And we procreated. But we didn't even know what we were doing. It was just an instinct. Okay? So, but that's it. But that's right. Life was. Life is a lot simpler like that. There was no keeping up with the Joneses. There were no BMWs. There were no Mercedes. There were no Cadillacs. There were no Toyotas. There were no, Hyundais. There were none of these things. There were no big houses. Everyone lived in a cave or everyone lived in a hut. Nobody had something better or more than somebody else. Much simpler time, a much more healthy time. Believe it or not, our brain chemistry, I expect back then, very few people were depressed. And I suspect very few people were obese. And I suspect very few people had any of the problems that we have today. So what we're doing is we're retraining your brain back into a natural state. So it gets used to being able to be in a natural theta or alpha or delta or beta state for an appreciable amount of time, so as to allow your natural neural chemistry to normalize. Now, when I say normalize, I don't mean it in the normal sense of the term, because the normal sense of the term is what's normal is what is common to the masses. Well, today what's normal is actually abnormal to your biology, physiology, and psychology, even though it's normal to the masses. I'm talking about bringing you back to where you need to be. Now, in order to do that, you need to follow some rules. Okay? It doesn't help if you jog once a month and eat 30 Big Macs every week.
Nope.
Okay? If you follow that rule, you're jogging once a month. You know what? Even if you jog every day and you eat 30 Big Macs a week, it's not going to help you. All right? The jogging. As a matter of fact, it'll just help you to process all the crap faster so that it hurts you quicker. There are rules that need to be followed for anything to work properly. Brainwave entrainment is no different. The problem with all the other entrainment that I've tried is that it does not follow these rules. I'll give you a hint here, okay? An example of brainwave entrainment that doesn't follow the rules and won't work is when someone puts music or ambient sounds in with it.
Really?
Please understand that I'm not bad-mouthing these people who do this. You probably interviewed a bunch of them.
Yeah,
I'm sure they're sweethearts, and I'm sure they're nice people, and I'm sure they have intentions to help people. I have no problem with that at all. The problem is brainwave entrainment at its most basic level is a stimulus that causes a reaction in your brain. That's the whole point. So think about this. From a very basic perspective, if I'm doing this, tap, 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 if I'm going ba, 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 and that's all you hear, your ear picks up that signal. It sends a pulse through the auditory canal and nerve into the brain, which then gets interpreted and creates its own signal as it follows the frequency. This is called the frequency following response. This is what is responsible for entrainment. Okay? Now, do this. Ba, 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 ba. But over top of it, and I apologize because I can't sing, guys, but on top of it, you're hearing la, 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 or you're hearing wa, 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 la, 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 or Tibetan bowls, or ringing, or chimes, or wind, or birds and chirps and all this stuff. Now imagine what your brain is trying to do. It's hearing all these other sounds, it's interpreting them, and sending signals through with your ba, 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 ba. It's destroying any chance you have of being entrained. Doesn't mean their products don't relax people, and may even help some people. But from a physiological, scientific basis, they are missing the boat. They don't understand what entrainment is. This is why, when you're using a science, it's best to go to a scientist. When you have a problem with your car, do you go to your grocer to have him or her fix it? If you have a neurological problem, do you go to a, I don't know, do you go to a glass maker? Okay? When you're having a problem with your stomach, do you go to a guy who builds decks? Of course not. Why would you go for something as intricate as your brain and a product as important and potentially powerful as brainwave entrainment? Why would you go to someone who obviously doesn't understand brainwave entrainment? There are too many products out there that you can buy for $40 or a few $100 that claim to make brainwave entrainment for you. They have all these prefab recordings that are supposedly able to do all kinds of wonderful things. The problem is entrainment doesn't work by any of these rules that these guys are talking about. There's lists out there. You can type in brainwave entrainment list, and you'll see there's this 20.362, blah, 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 all these different frequencies that are supposedly responsible for all these different things. That's not how it works. That's not how life works. That's not how your brain works. There may be certain frequencies associated with certain things, but simply listening to a supposed recording isn't enough to accomplish what you want to accomplish. And a sign of someone who doesn't understand what they're doing, unfortunately, is someone who puts, again, music or other ambient noises in with their entrainment.
So what you teach about, and this is interesting because I read this, that you teach about directed manifestation. And I'm assuming that this is part of what you're doing in your process. I've never heard anyone use the word directed manifestation. There's been a lot of different ways to say that, but what do you mean by that?
Basically, directed manifestation is when people use my products, especially the Quantum Mind Power product or the Quantum Confidence product, they get what they need when they need it. So if you're open enough to allow yourself to be, if I might be esoteric here, one with the universe, and allow it to do what it needs to do to make you happy, then that's wonderful. But there are a lot of people who have immediate concerns. That might be financial concerns or health concerns or stress concerns, their job, all kinds of other concerns. Well, we can actually direct what you get from our products by using a protocol that I've designed called the Protocol for Directed Manifestation. And what that does is, through a series of actual actions that you take, okay, and in conjunction with listening with the recordings, what it does is it allows you to direct your manifestation. So if you just use the recordings as a system, as I prescribe, in time, as long as you're listening properly, in other words, regularly, and with stereo headphones, eyes closed, that kind of thing, then you will get what you need. Because remember, you're your own guru, right? You know better than I do what you need. Even if you're not consciously aware of it, there's a part of you that knows, the yin and the yang. The universe doesn't give you a problem unless it also gives you a solution. If you don't see the solution, it's because you're not looking for the solution. Like the little bunny rabbit, you're looking for the fox instead of the beauty around you.
Mm.
So that's what it is. It's directed manifestation. I need to be able to get more money. So using the protocol for directed manifestation in conjunction with the recordings will allow you to become aware of opportunity, which, by the way, is around you all the time anyway.
Mm.
But it allows you to become aware of it. Using the recordings helps to give you the motivation and the energy that you didn't believe you had to get off your rear end and take action. Because in this world, sitting in the lotus position, meditating is very sweet and it's a very romantic thought, but it doesn't accomplish anything if it doesn't inspire action.
Right.
And that's the trick. You need to, anything you're doing needs to inspire action. If it doesn't inspire action, you're lost.
Wow. Well, I'm really intrigued by what you're saying and really excited about having people experience this and also to learn more about how they can tap into this incredible knowledge you have. Morry, you think we can go through this meditation that we promised folks to?
Yeah, sure.
Can we do that now?
Sure, that would be my pleasure. I'd like everybody who's out there, unless you're listening to this as a podcast in your car, to...
Yeah, right.
Definitely do not do this.
No driving.
No driving. Turn off the tape and listen to it when you get home, okay, if you're in the car, or doing anything potentially dangerous if you're at work, operating a forklift, anything like that at all, okay? But for the rest of you, I'd like you to take 3 deep breaths. Take them with me. Hold it for a moment. And release. Pay attention to your body, to your head, to the sensations as you take your next breath. Pay attention how it feels as you release. And one more. Pay attention to how you feel in your entire body as you release. Please close your eyes and lie back and listen. When you are starting to notice that it's becoming easier to get what you really desire. You begin now, each day, to begin to notice as you find yourself doing things that you really enjoy, that are a part of getting what you long for. And as you are feeling lighter and you float through everything you do, you begin and notice. You are noticing with a sense of happiness. You are seeing that you now get exactly what you need, and that gives you everything you want. you find yourself enjoying doing the things that are helping you get what you want. Could it be that every day you're tingling with excitement as you're noticing what you are achieving and will achieve? As you get happy and closer and closer to what it is that you truly long for. And as you find yourself each night, as you lay down to sleep, enjoying writing down your achievements for that day and allowing and making all your wonderful and exciting plans for tomorrow, today, that is to come. Notice now that you find yourself getting even more excited, encouraged, and ecstatic about what is now that you're getting out of your life, that you choose to see now, understanding it is your choice. And with every breath you take, you now realize that you are becoming more excited as you realize that with every breath you take, you are closer and closer to what you long for. You see now everything clear. You feel excited, and you are so happy. And you now know, where that power comes from as it fills your heart now, and with each beat, every day, it fills your life with the images of all your desires, accomplishments of now, the now that was, and the now to come. And now you finally know what you can do and what you are now doing that allows you to get anything you want as you easily achieve your goals and dreams. At this point, allow yourself to feel the energy and remember what it feels like. Because as you live and as your opportunities present themselves, this feeling will automatically come to you, inspire you, and energize you to positive and wonderful action. Your life is yours. You are in control. Your happiness is your choice. And from now forward, choose to be happy. As you're comfortable, open your eyes and enjoy the day.
You're beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I love that.
Thank you.
You have a very beautiful tone to your voice, so it makes it.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
It makes it easy to just kind of get in that space. And I got to tell you, I was smiling all the way through it. Not in the beginning, but I was later when you started saying to accept the happiness, accept what it is that we're concentrating on. I get excited about these kinds of things. Obviously, that's why I do what I do. But Morry, could you just take a few minutes and share maybe one or two or maybe three success stories or testimonials you've had from people who have followed what you teach?
Sure. Here's one that I got from a gentleman by the name of Matt, probably 4 or 5 months ago. I really wanted to get on here and tell you how much I have benefited already from your quantum confidence recordings after 1 month only. And I really want to tell you that I originally got this course on a whim, taking advantage of a special offer that I heard. To be honest, yeah, they all do that. To be honest with you, by the way, you guys are going to get an offer too. To be honest with you, before I even pushed the buy button, I had every intention of canceling my order and grabbing a freebie from you. Although I also really intended that I would just sit on my hard drive as another wasted, ineffective course. But I did push the buy button. I figured, what the heck? I'll start listening to it, using the program exactly as you recommended. I mean, come on, how serious could I be about self-improvement or really achieving anything positive in my life if I wasn't willing to at least lay back, relax, and just listen to something for half an hour or so? Does it really get any more effortless than that? So I followed the protocol exactly as you laid out. I picked one of the 6 recordings, Isochronic 2 works for me, and started listening. I started to notice some real tangible changes within 2 or 3 days, I think. At this point, it has been about 4 weeks, and I've listened to just the Isochronic 2 almost every day. I've missed maybe 4 days over the past 30, I would guess. The results, incredible. I'm almost afraid to discuss them here for fear of jinxing them or diluting them or something. But Morry, quantum confidence has given me exactly what I needed. And what I mean is, although I'm always and have been generally confident person, I am also someone who has had his fingers in a lot of pies, as they say. My mind is often running from one thing to the next, having a very difficult time living in the moment, etc. What I am feeling and experiencing now is great relief. I feel so centered constantly, calm, at peace, able to focus in a way I didn't think possible. I am seeing literally things clearer, and I don't really know how to explain it, but I'm sure you and the others here know what I mean. As if my vision itself has become crisper. My mind isn't racing like it was, and I have already been able to effortlessly achieve what my main resolution was, living in the moment as much as possible. Okay, I know I've written plenty here, but if it were ever possible, Morry, I would love to talk to you on the phone for a few minutes. And then he just goes on and
wow.
talks about how he wants to talk.
At least he was honest.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. You got another one?
Sure. Let's see. This one's a little shorter, so you guys, I'll be able to take a breath. Hi, Morry. I would like to extend a special thank you to the creator of the Quantum Confidence System. I have been, this person is talking about quantum mind power and quantum confidence. I have been using the Neural Synergy and Eden Energy. These are recordings in the Quantum Mind Power program, as well as the Quantum Confidence and Self-Esteem recording, Quantum Confidence, for the last 2 months now, along with your triliminals, and I've seen some noticeable changes in my behavior and thought patterns. I have been dealing with stress a lot better and now find I can cope with difficult situations in a more confident manner. My studies have also benefited in that I find learning has become easier. I can finish assigned tasks feeling calm, and my mind feels clearer now. My social life has also improved. I am no longer intimidated by the prospect of having to meet someone I do not know for the first time. Seeing as I'm always a shy person, my family has noticed these changes and are very happy for me. I would recommend the system to anyone looking to get more out of life and to enjoy life to the fullest, as the possibilities are endless. These systems are for everyone. It's just so amazing. I cannot express my gratitude to you for creating this system. I wish there were a stronger, more powerful method for me to share my sentiments. You have truly changed my world with this in a positive way, and I wish you the greatest success in all your future endeavors.
Wow. And you know what? I'm just so excited because, folks, I asked Morry to create something for us, and obviously he's been talking about this confidence program, and I highly encourage you to go to Morry's special offer right now to experience it for yourself. Simply click on the special offer button that's on this page, and there you will get an opportunity to benefit from the years and years of suffering that he went through and the years and years of finding what worked for him. Morry, could you let everybody know what you've created there for him?
Sure. Basically, you're going to see there my quantum confidence system. Most of our issues in life have to do with confidence and self-esteem. When we are strongly confident and have high levels of self-esteem, we are action takers. We do not stop. We ask questions. We get answers. We do not let our ego in the way. Quantum confidence is specifically designed to help you to get into the proper mindset for being like the people that you want to emulate, the people that you idolize, the real successes of the world. Basically, what I've done is I've taken a situation where I had the honor of being able to be directly in contact with some very successful, very confident, very powerful people. They were kind enough to allow me to do brain scans.
Wow.
Of them under various circumstances. I analyzed these scans, came up with some pretty standard frequencies, believe it or not, that were generalized to all of them when they were experiencing their highest levels of self-esteem and self-confidence. The first recording in my quantum confidence system is actually a dual brainwave system. Now, what people need to understand is that nobody else, I've been doing this for 8 years now publicly. I've been doing my research over 30. Nobody is selling dual brainwave recordings. I believe that's because they don't understand the power of them, and maybe they're afraid because they don't want to screw people up.
Yeah.
But the truth is that for people to have, when these people exhibited strong levels of confidence and self-esteem, the right hemisphere was dominant in one frequency and the left hemisphere was dominant in another frequency. So what we do is the first recording is actually a series of 6, and this recording trains your brain how to get the right and left hemispheres into the same state that these highly successful, highly confident people are in. So now your brain is going to get trained to be in the same state as people who are billionaires.
Wow.
And that's amazing. Now, again, we need to train the brain, and we need to then plant seeds there. It's not enough just to have the brain hit a certain frequency. That's the start. That's the base. You know, for a building to stand, it needs a very strong base, and that's what we build with that recording. You get 6 versions of that recording. You get 3 in what's called a monaural stimulation pattern and 3 in a isochronic stimulation pattern. All that's important is that you give each one a listen to for about 10 seconds and grade them. Give them a score of 1 to 10. The one recording or the ones that get the highest score are the one or ones that you will listen to every day. Okay? Your brain will tell you the best one for you. You get all 6, so you have the opportunity to get the best possible results, because the research says that if people like the tones better, they will get better results. Their brain kind of knows what's better for them. It's not like chocolate, where your brain says, give me more, and it's not good for you. In this case, it knows what's best for you by telling you which one you like the best. So that's the first set of recordings that you're going to use. Then we want to plant those healthy seeds. To do that, we have a series of subliminals, guided meditation, similar to what I just gave you today, as well as something called triliminals. Now, triliminal is a brand new technology that we created specifically for the quantum confidence system. The problem is, this is how we learn things. When you were born, you never thought for a second that there wasn't enough money in the world. You never thought that people were evil or selfish. You never thought that there wasn't enough love or pure love. You never thought any of these things. You were taught all these things through experience, through people who were power people in your lives, people who had influence, the news, television, your parents, whoever. Okay, all of these things were taught to you. And believe it or not, they were taught to you and became yours through a simple series of repetition. That's exactly how we learn things. That's how we learned all the basic things that run our lives today. It was strictly through repetition. You hear someone else telling you, you are, this is how it is, blah, 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 blah. You hear these kinds of commands and statements enough times, you begin to take them as your own. That's when they become I am, or this is how it is for me, and that's when they have power over you. This is how affirmations work. Affirmations do not work generally. It's funny because affirmations work definitely, but they also don't work at all. And they don't work at all because the people who are teaching you affirmations don't understand the dynamics of how an affirmation works. For an affirmation to actually work, you need to hear someone else tell you you are over and over and over again until you start buying into it because you've heard it enough times. When you start buying into it and start saying I am as a result of hearing you are enough times, that's when affirmations work, because that is the dynamic of how you learned and how affirmations played a role in your life. All of your belief systems that you have today are the result of hearing others say it over and over and over again, and you accepting it as your own. Then it became I. That's when it gains its power over you. So we use the same dynamic in the triliminal. But because we don't want you to wait 30 or 40 or 50 years, depending on how old you are, because that's how much programming it took to create who you are now, we create the triliminal. In the triliminal, in the left ear, you will hear specific affirmations designed for your right brain. You will hear specific affirmations in your right ear for your left brain. This is how perception works. Information that goes in the right side goes to the left hemisphere. Information that goes in the left side goes to the right hemisphere. Then you will also hear me talking to you in the center of your head. These are non-hemispherically specific affirmations. They could go to either hemisphere or both. The triliminal includes a special brainwave entrainment tone that is designed to act kind of as a deepener and an induction would in a hypnosis. It gets the brain and your mind into the right state for all these things. The beautiful thing about the triliminals is not only does it understand how your brain works and how affirmations work, because the commands are you are, not I am. They are you are, because in time you will translate them into I am in your life experience. But they include the brainwave entrainment tones, which are specifically designed to make everything easier for you. You get a special background frequency, which augments all of the results. But on top of all of that, it's done with a strict understanding as to how you learn, how your brain operates. So everything put together creates a circumstance where it doesn't even matter if you don't agree with what's being said. Now, that is a breakthrough, because all the affirmation experts will tell you you have to feel totally comfortable with an affirmation. And if you create it yourself, you do. But when you're hearing about how something is from someone else, you don't have to believe it. All you have to do is hear it enough times, and it will become yours. And that is one of the major powers.
Wow.
Because you're hearing the three commands at the same time. It is the first technology to ever program the subconscious and the conscious mind at the same time.
That is exciting stuff. And so all this is part of the package. Wow.
That's all part of the package. You also get a special guided meditation as well. Now, that guided meditation also incorporates a specially designed brain entrainment background, which, again, helps you to accommodate the messages that are being said and to make them part of your being. all of the messages are completely positive and serving. The problem now is that we have messages that aren't serving, so we're going to replace them. Think of your computer. Think of anything you program. You can program it to be depressed. You can program it to be happy. You can program it to be positive. You can program it to be negative. We're going to change your programming using exactly the same techniques that you use to create who you are today. We're going to use the exact same techniques with different content to retrain you and reprogram you, but at a much faster rate, because it's not going to take you 30 years. Some people it'll start happening immediately. Some people it'll take a few weeks, even a couple of months. But in the span of your life, if you stick with the program, you will see results. We even include a couple of subliminal recordings that you can play nonstop throughout the day in the background at a very low volume that give you over 2 million presentations of positive statements that only your subconscious mind can pick up. Now, people will say 2 million commands in an hour. There's no way I can understand that. Well, sure, your conscious mind can't, but your subconscious, your brain can actually handle millions of functions every second. So I think it can handle a couple of million affirmations sent to it in a very specific way over the span of an hour. So when you use all of these things together as the system, because remember, entrainment isn't enough to have a special frequency. You have to understand how the frequency works. You have to have, if you were to look at my recordings under a spectrometer, okay, or under a wave detection device, so you could actually see the waves, you would see that the space between each pulse is identical. You would see that the shape of each pulse is identical. Your brain needs to have all of these things exact. I do not use software to create my recordings. I make them manually. Now, obviously, I'm using software, but I'm not using some kit or
prefabricated software is what you're saying.
Yeah, that creates these things. You know, okay, I want 10 hertz, and I want this, and I want that, and I press go, and then some, you know, software algorithm creates it. They don't do a good job. The spacing is off. You know, to the ear, it may sound similar, but to your brain, it makes all the difference in the world. I cannot tell you how many people have tried other systems to go, funny, Morry, they kind of sound similar in some cases, but boy, the results are not there.
Well, Morry, this has been an incredible hour of just so much knowledge. And folks, I mean, I can't wait to participate in this. Any final thoughts before we leave?
I just want to reiterate what I said in the beginning. Happiness is a choice. Choose to be happy. It's really that simple. Also, part 2 is understand that action is required for any kind of a change in your life. You took the first action step by listening to this call.
That's right.
Don't stop now. When you start feeling the resistance, and you will, and when you get the product, you're going to feel resistance too, because your consciousness, that little kid inside of you, is going to know that this can help you to help yourself change and be better. And the resistance needs to be interpreted for what it is, a sign that change is around the corner as long as you push through it. Don't interpret these things as a negative. Interpret them as positives, and your life will move forward. I'm living proof of this. I have thousands of clients who all help themselves with the use of properly engineered entrainment systems.
I love it. So, folks, take advantage of this. Go at least check it out and see what he's all about. Click on the special offer button that's on this page. Thank you so very much for sharing with us today, Morry. I appreciate you, and I look forward to our next call together.
It's a pleasure. Thanks so much for having me, and thanks, everybody, for listening.